Well, joining us tonight, Congressman Devin Nunes, ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, member of the House Ways and Means Committee, and a man who's been at the forefront and the epicenter of Spygate from its from its earliest days, as then the chair of the House Intel Committee. Congressman, great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Attorney General Barr said it straight up. The closest we've come to in an effort to overthrow a president since Abraham Lincoln. I mean, that's stunning stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was surprising for us when we, kind of stumbled into it. But you have to really look. This was done in really kind of three phases. It was done as a dirty trick by the Clinton campaign originally, with the help of the Obama administration using the FBI. That's what happened in 2016. Then it continued after the election when they tried to blame fake news, and the tech companies were trying to say, oh, it was fake news. Obama was blaming the tech companies. That's why Trump won. Then a few weeks later, lo and behold, they decide that, no, let's go back to Russia. And so then they keep the Russia investigation going on, even when some in the FBI were trying to hide and bury what they did wrong, but they resurrected it. Then knowing through the first parts of the Trump administration that even after driving General Flynn out of office, forcing him to resign, then you had the appointment of a special counsel. So we're really in a status, what started as Lee Smith, who's been on your show many times, Lou, who's wrote a great book, what begins as the plot against the president really moves into a permanent coup. And that's where we've been. The Democrats took control largely based on this interference by the Department of Justice and the FBI in the 2018 election that caused Republicans to lose control of the House. It was their main money-raising scheme. And then the House Intelligence Committee was turned into the House Impeachment Committee, and we've been dealing with that for the last, it's almost going on 4 years now.
Critically important now, as Attorney General Barr told Maria Bartiromo. He expects developments hopefully by the end of the summer. This is critically important because you and I think most Americans understand the Democrats with their lies and their deception and that extraordinary effort, conspiracy to overthrow the president, stole the election of 2018 and stole the control of the House of Representatives. It can't happen again, not with the presidency. And it's critically important that the American people have the truth before this election. Now, I heard a lot of nonsense from the Justice Department under the Comey era, the Brennan Clapper, conspiracy in the IC, that there's a rule 60 days before the election. All of that nonsense and utter crap. This is about stealing a presidency, and it can't happen this time. How confident are you that it won't happen this time?
Well, as you know, the House Republicans on the Intelligence Committee, who are the only ones that have been running a real investigation up until Attorney General Barr came to the Justice Department. You have to remember the first 2 years of the Trump administration, they were busy trying to get rid of the president who had appointed many of those people. So now there's a real investigation going on because the adults are in the room. I believe that the U.S. Attorney out of Connecticut, who has a tremendous track record, is doing his very best, along with the U.S. Attorney out of Missouri and also now one out of Texas. So, as I told you a few weeks ago on the show, Lou, we've been constantly looking at unanswered questions that we have. We've turned to parts of the Department of Defense, specifically the Office of Net Assessments. We have questions that are outstanding to that. I'm talking about just the Republican investigation in the House. We also have many unanswered questions that we've gotten to the appropriate authorities at the Department of Justice. And we have recommended many criminal referrals now. I think we're up to somewhere around 14 criminal referrals that we have now made to the Department of Justice. So our investigation continues, and thankfully we now have the Department of Justice itself conducting an investigation. And I would just say this, to ask your question about, well, is there any rule that would apply about bringing this before the election? No, there is not. Unless Hillary Clinton is going to be on the ballot in November, which I don't think she is, This doesn't involve anyone that's currently on the ballot right now. So, one could say, well, Biden was somewhat involved. Yeah, but, really he was on the periphery of this. So it's not going to involve him. Could involve the Obama officials and could involve very high-level Obama officials. But what we really want to see happen is those people that were in the Clinton campaign that coordinated with the dirty cops who wasted millions of dollars of taxpayer money, those are the people that the Department of Justice has to really rein in and hopefully are able to prosecute.
Before the election. It
Before the
has to
election,
happen before
yes.
the election. That's
right.
Let me turn to this development. Geoffrey Berman, former U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, fired Friday night, summarily so by the Attorney General, ultimately fired by the President at the Attorney General's request because Berman refused to leave the office. Now, we still don't know, 72 hours later, why? What was going on? How deep a mess is that Southern District in? Because it is a cesspool of unanswered questions. And I say cesspool, I read all of the stuff about the storied, legendary Southern District. All I know is that Anthony Weiner's laptop went in, and we've never heard another damn word about it. We know it just goes one thing after another is tied into Spygate. It's tied into corruption of all sorts involving the Clintons. Berman made no sense at all as an appointee of this president since 2018. This is, and here we are, all of us just happy as we can be, not knowing a damn thing about why or what is happening in arguably the most important jurisdiction of the U.S. Attorney, 93 of them in the country.
Yeah, what I would say to that, Lou, is I don't know why either, and I do find it quite interesting because it appeared like Attorney General Barr, just in that kind of he said, she said, that he was essentially trying to find another spot for that U.S. attorney that perhaps he could go to. But clearly, the Attorney General had a problem with the leadership there, and I would like to know that also. I'd like to know what that entails. But as of this date, I just don't know. I'm at a loss, just like you are. I'd love to give you more information, but I don't want to get in the line of just making something up like some of our friends do in the news business.
Well, our friends in the news business. How about some of our friends in the Congress business or the Senate business?
The Congressman and Senate business. They always do that. You and I are the politicians always do it. Everybody knows that.
You and I are pristine in our relative bailiwicks. And Congressman, it's great to have you with us. Thanks so much. And I hope that we have answers, all of us, soon. Congressman Devin Nunes, who has provided many of the answers that we have gotten over the course of the past 3 years.